Hey everybody, I'm Commissioner Tim Echols. Welcome to another edition of Community Focus. We're just going through Georgia cities. We've got just such a rich heritage in Georgia, so many cool things going on in our community. And today we're going to focus on a town that I've driven through a lot because I have 3 degrees from the University of Georgia, and I've gone through the city of Conyers a bunch en route to Athens, Georgia, filling up at the QT there, stopping maybe to eat somewhere around I-20. Plus, my family lives in McDonough, so when I drive, from Houston to McDonough, we go through Conyers. So I think all roads go through Conyers. We've got a fun day today. We're gonna start out talking about clean energy and the Georgia Horse Park in just a minute. Steve Cirillo from Inman. Steve, good to have you on today, man.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff at the horse park. Faith, you're a horse girl. You've actually taken your horse out there and ridden, right?
Oh yeah, I love the horse park. Accidentally ended up on that granite slab that's out there on the horse park, which is not very safe to ride your horse on. I actually had to get off and leave my horse off of that granite. But horse park is a beautiful place to ride. It's free. Which is huge for horseback riders in Georgia. And it's a fantastic place. I've also taken children to show at the horse park, which is less fun, but still exciting.
Yeah, and then we're going to pull on our friend Casey McClure, and Casey runs For Sarah, an organization that we've partnered with, wow, Casey, maybe 6 or 7 years as we've done the Unholy Tour. So it's great to have you on today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're looking forward to just hearing more about y'all's new assessment house and how this fight against human trafficking is going. It doesn't appear that the traffickers are slowing down with COVID.
No, sir, it's not stopping at all. It's actually gotten worse, and then you have young ladies that are actually running away from home, and law enforcement isn't able to really do their job because they're not required to look for the girls right now. So yeah, it's
yes. And then we'll talk with your good friend. He goes by JMO. He's pastor of First Baptist Conyers. JMO, good to have you on Community Focus today. We'll talk about some of the great work you guys have done in your community.
It's good to be with you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, and that room that you're in with the guitar and the wood walls. I mean, do you have a fire going in there this morning? I mean, it just looks so tempting.
I have a big lighter over here that when it gets a little cool, I light it up.
Yeah.
I may do it for the show.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you. And then my friend Shelly Siebert from the Arts Council over there and the Rotary. Shelly, you're downtown Conyers, Old Town Conyers, right?
That's right. We do refer to ourselves as Old Town Conyers. I am right on Commercial Street, so my windows, I can see pretty much everything that goes on in Old Town. Yeah, it's great. It's a great place to be.
Well, we're looking forward to talking to all you guys. So why don't we get started? With Steve today? Because Steve, you guys have done that solar out at the horse park. I had a chance to actually go out there in the '96 Olympics and actually enjoy an afternoon of Olympic equestrian events. My mom was a horse fanatic, and I grew up owning horses, and so and my daughters have also shown their horses out there, just as Faith has done. So tell me a little bit about the array that you guys did. It's a megawatt. What, about 6 acres?
Yeah, about that. It was a piece of land that was, they've got hundreds of acres out there, and it was a piece of land that was not particularly useful. There's a lot of sort of topo challenges there, and so we were able to find a corner that worked well for them, and it just was an opportunity to create a revenue stream for the city on land they owned that that also sent a good message. I think the sort of green story behind solar worked well with what the city and the horse park wanted to convey. So it became kind of a win-win.
Inman Solar, you guys have been around, worked in multiple states. I know you guys did the array out at Agnes Scott College on top of their parking deck. And what are some of the other projects that y'all have done in Georgia?
We've done everything from, we did another project for the Darlington School up in Rome. We've done a project at the airport in Valdosta. A number of projects on rooftop with private companies where they just chose to invest in solar energy and reduce their bills. Most of them are, though, in partnership with Georgia Power. Georgia Power has been an advocate for renewables where it makes sense. So in a lot of places now we're doing, particularly recently, we've been doing sort of greenfield sites on the distribution grid where we're building a little grid stability in addition to selling power back to the utility that becomes part of their utility mix at or below their avoided costs. So it actually creates a net benefit for customers, but also creates that green story and creates a lot of job opportunities and a lot of revenue streams for rural Georgia. So those are dotted all over the state now.
Yeah, part of the theme of this show is green energy done right. And I put that tag on there because I don't necessarily want our policies to be like, every state in the union. There have been a lot of states that have heavily subsidized green energy, and we are taking a different route. It has caused us to be a little bit slower with our deployment of green energy, but nevertheless, we are catching up. And solar, I guess, has probably dropped 70% over the last 5 or 6 years. Where do you see solar going in the next 5 years?
I think it's probably more of the same. Obviously, people are still interested in solar, and the costs are still the main driver. The big change, I think, in the next 5 years will probably be in storage, where storage gets cheap enough where you can start to realize the benefits. Storage, of course, will allow you to put more solar on the grid, but it also has benefits to the grid in terms of grid stability, reducing the peaks and valleys that sort of drive the utilities crazy. So I think that will be a win-win and will stand on its own in a lot of places, even without solar or wind or other sources.
Well, how can folks find out about your company? And do you guys do rooftop solar for residential or just business? Or who are folks that need to contact you?
Yeah, well, Inman Solar is focused almost exclusively on commercial, industrial, and utility scale projects throughout the Southeast. But the Georgia Solar Energy Association is a good place to go for if you're looking more for residential type projects or small commercial. And there are a number of folks like us. If you Google solar farms in Georgia, you'll see a lot of press, not just on Inman Solar, but some of our colleagues. We do have a very good community of developers and installers who are at this point very competent and get quotes and kick tires and ask a lot of questions, and that's what we do. We do a lot of educating of the public on phone calls or site visits. So we're happy to do it.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show today. Good luck, and we appreciate all the great things you're doing around our state.
Appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right, take care. Hey, Casey, have you been out to the horse park? You ever go out there?
All the time. My daughter is doing horse shows out there, and she's actually in the regionals this weekend. So, yes, wish her luck. So she's excited about it.
Yeah. So your ministry is actually named after your daughter. Give our audience the Reader's Digest version of your ministry.
So, yeah, Forcera is basically a nonprofit organization that reaches women that have been sexually exploited or that have been sex trafficked. We started out as just a strip club ministry. I actually came from the industry. I've worked as a stripper for a little over 6 years, and God called me out of it in 2003 and started Forcera actually after the birth of my daughter in 2004. So I've been doing Forcera, going on outreaches, and then through that we realized that there was a need for housing And that's where Forcera created the assessment house through a partnership with First Baptist Church of Conyers.
Yeah, Faith, tell folks about our work on the Unholy Tour, because you administrate that. We haven't done one in a while because of COVID, and I was so pleased to hear that our bus company, Sampson Trailways Charter Bus Company, has started back this week, and so we need to get an Unholy Tour on the books. But just give our audience a little bit about what an Unholy Tour is and Casey's role.
Yeah, so we started the Unholy Tours in 2015. Actually, I think in January or February of 2015. And Casey is our tour guide on our buses. It started out as a nod to William Wilberforce and what he did with the in England with the issue of slavery and the abolition movement. And our goal initially was to put lawmakers on a bus and take them to the red light districts of Atlanta and show them the realities of the sex trade in Atlanta. And that has expanded to do public tours. We've done tours in Columbus, in Savannah, and all over the city of Atlanta, and some of the other metro areas. And we have even done tours for private organizations like the Georgia Baptist Mission Board, as well as the Centers for Disease Control here in Atlanta.
And Casey, your pastor, or JMO, pastor of First Baptist Conyers, has been an important benefactor for your ministry. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with the pastor and the church, and what they've done for you guys.
So actually, I live outside of Conyers, but I used to drive by First Baptist Church of Conyers and think, wow, what a beautiful church. It's massive. I wish I knew somebody in there. And God must have really heard my prayers, because he opened doors shortly after that, where I met the pastor before JMO, and they reached out to me telling me that they wanted to help Forcera, that they believe it was a mission in the community. And they asked me what was something that they could do. And I told them that I felt like God wanted me to open a home for women that were pregnant or women that had children in their custody, because there were homes for women to go to that did not have kids, but there's not a lot of homes or housing available for women that are trying to lead the life, that are pregnant or have kids in their custody. And that's where the partnership started.
JMO, I mean, such a unique opportunity, and you guys stepped up and did this. And we definitely have a major shortage of assessment centers in the state. I know that Marty Kemp was instrumental in building a state-of-the-art facility over in Paulding County, but we're way short. What was it that really moved the church to pull the trigger on this?
You know, there were a number of people at that time in the church that had a heart, and I can just see it as God was just networking in different people's hearts. And they'd reached out to Casey, and initially the church at the time, we were on a debt campaign, trying to relieve our debt, and along with that, partnering with other mission organizations locally that we could assist them, and we were able to have a substantial amount of income that had come in from Forcera. But at that time, I realized I was new pastor here, and I realized we had a house on our property that at one time was a Boy Scout house. Really nice. Looks like it's in the mountains somewhere, the way the construction is. And I began to pray, how can we use this house as a part to assist for ministry in the community? And the thought came to me one day, you know, we've got this money sitting here for an assessment house, but not enough to construct one, but we've got this house on our property. So we contacted Casey and said, Casey, would this work for you? And so we entered into a partnership. Casey, I think you guys pay a whopping $1 a year on the lease on the house and the property. And so I think that's been close to 4 years now that y'all been in the assessment house, or 3.5, somewhere around.
Actually been 2 years. 2 years.
It's just been 2.
It's just been 2 years.
Okay.
Time's flying.
You know, our hopes and really our heart really would be, if it works out, that we may even be able to just donate that home and the property to Forcera. We've got plenty of land here, more than what I could ever imagine that we would use. And we just kind of had the idea God has provided that for us, and it's for kingdom use, not necessarily for our church use. So we're just praying to see if the avenue's open for that with the property there.
Well, that's fantastic. Casey, I mean, just a word as we wrap up about assessment and what happens in an assessment. Take us through a girl being picked up by law enforcement and middle of the night, fearing for her life maybe. I mean, this is obviously a family show here today, so we can't go into a whole lot of detail, but take us through how that assessment house is used.
So we actually have a house mom that lives on the property. Amy is our house mom. And so when a young lady decides that we accept her into our assessment house, usually they come to us. They've never even been to the doctor. They're pregnant. They're hungry. They have no clothes. They have no family support. They're just kind of getting used to new people. So when they come to us, we just kind of get them to feel like they're part of our family first. And then our focus is to get them to the doctor and find out items that they might need for themselves to kind of make them feel safe. And then we'll start working with them and mentoring them and get them connected with a care team member that will just speak life into her and just encourage her. And then we kind of find a long-term placement for them, hopefully, if they're willing to go to a permanent program.
Wow. Pastor, you guys obviously are doing a lot in and around Conyers, Rockdale County. What are some of the other opportunities for ministry that you guys have had to serve maybe over the last year during the pandemic?
Yeah, we've always kind of taken the view as well to partner with other ministries in the area. Rather than trying to recreate the wheel, we realize we can't do everything. And so Phoenix Pass is another organization that we partner with heavily. They're housing for homeless moms and families. And so that's one of the key ministries in the area we partner with. One of the things I've realized during COVID, not only for myself, but I recognize everybody else, the thing that we don't talk a lot about is the mental stress that people have endured during COVID. So we have a counseling ministry here that has just kind of exploded during COVID, that we offer free counseling within the community and have had the opportunity to help many families through that. Also, one of the other areas that we're all aware of are senior citizens. We're blessed. We have a multi-generational congregation here, but we recognize so many of our seniors in our community just through the isolation, we're hurting emotionally, physically, that kind of thing. So Meals on Wheels we partner with weekly to share meals predominantly with our senior citizens. And then when the vaccine came out, we saw a real need that senior citizens just did not have any idea of how to try to get on a list somewhere to get the vaccine. So we had the idea to create a bank of volunteers that would help senior citizens in our community who don't go on the internet, who are not capable of doing that. So we come alongside of them where they contact us, and we have volunteers that go online or make calls to arrange or even pick up and take them to get the vaccine. So that's just been something that kind of, just in a sense fell on our lap, that we just tried to find niches that are not being met in the community. But emotionally, I think, and spiritually are the two areas that I've seen of the greatest need from that standpoint in the community through COVID.
Well, thank you. Casey, how can folks find out about Forcera?
They can visit our website at forsarah.net, and that is the number 4 and then Sarah, SARAH.net. There's a lot of resources on there that they can get plugged in and try to volunteer if they're interested.
Great. Well, thank you both, Pastor, JMO, and Casey, for being on Community Focus today.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
very much.
Thank you for having us.
See ya.
Okay.
Hey, Faith, good work that she's doing out there. I know I'm so excited to continue to work with them. It's just been such an eye-opening experience for me since 2015 of just seeing just how heinous this underworld of human trafficking is.
Yes, really is.
Well, it's great to have Shelley Siebert on with us. Shelley, I had a chance to speak at your Rotary Club the other day, and that was fun. And I wish it had been in person because maybe our listeners don't know, but I met Truett Cathy at the Atlanta Airport Rotary Club when I was 17 years old, and I received the Student of the Year award from the Rotary. But I think more importantly that day, meeting Truett Cathy, having him invite me to his office. I drove my little truck over behind his big Lincoln Continental with a chicken on the side and sat down in his office, and he gave me some Zig Ziglar tapes and really challenged me to, to go off to college, get a degree, be a leader. And it was such a pivotal time for me. And Rotary has done so much good, and not just in Conyers, but around the world. I mean, it's an international organization, isn't it?
It is. It is. One of the things that Rotary is celebrating and continues to celebrate is we as an organization have been intimately involved in eradicating polio. And along with the work that Rotarians do and, the medical field and philanthropists such as the Bill Gates Foundation and all, we're seeing that happen. There are so many fewer cases of polio worldwide. We know we've been good in the States and, North America and Europe and all that, but some of these other African countries and places and such that it's been difficult. But every year up until obviously this last year, Rotary sends out teams to these villages to help with polio, with giving it's not so much a vaccine as it is a drop and such. So, and, Rotary has always focused on, towns specifically, but as we all know, we're all one big community. So the work of Rotary continues to be international, but the footprint in each community is massive. And as you were talking about, for Sarah, that through our local Rotary Club, when we have a fundraiser every year, which is coming up April 23rd. That's my plug. It's a golf tournament at Cherokee Run. The proceeds from those fundraisers go back into the community, into the nonprofit sector, which is the heartbeat of every community. So for Sarah is one of those such organizations, as is mine, the Council for the Arts. So Rotarians not only have a large international focus, but we have such a strong footprint and such a commitment to our communities that, whenever anything happens, I think Rotarians are out there almost as quick as Red Cross.
Let's talk a second about what's happened, in the art world. I mean, you think about just all those Broadway theaters that are dark and that have been dark for a year and will be dark, I guess, the rest of the year. The orchestra members that play, in those productions, the actors, and then you think about the off-Broadway stuff, theaters in all the other communities around the U.S. And the world. You think about little town and gown theaters that are in communities. I mean, you have to wonder if the art world is going to be set back even more because of the fact that talent hasn't had a chance to be mentored, and that it's been just an opportunity for people maybe to change their mind about going into arts. Or have y'all talked about that?
We have, and the impact has been incredible, especially for small arts organizations such as myself. My theater only holds 82 people. So when you look at everything from social distancing to, the cleaning the environment, I mean, it's not something that we can do in this small theater at this time. But luckily, we have a strong partnership. I'm part of a consortium that is sponsored by the Fox Theater. And so we're a statewide consortium. And so during this pandemic, we have all been able to come together to talk about what our next steps are. The arts are always going to be vibrant in every community, no matter how that looks, and it's not going away. We are working diligently to go beyond what COVID is. And, people think about the arts and they think about the artists themselves. There's so much more to it than that. There's the people that create sets. There's the people that create costumes. There's the technical people. It is an industry that far outweighs so many in the economic world. and it's been impacted. But I do say that to say that we will come back. Luckily, the federal government has looked at the arts as a viable part of each and every community, and some funding has come through that we're diligently working on. So
Yeah.
we'll be back. We'll be back. It's just March 13th, 2020 was March 13th, 2020.
Let's wrap up with just a word about what's happening with movies in Rockdale County. I know that Faith's from Conyers, and we've seen a lot of stuff filmed out there in Covington and Porterdale and around that area. Has the movie business been good for Rockdale County?
Oh, listen, you talk about Covington, and that's our, kind of our
rival.
a little bit. But we actually have done amazing. We have major studios here. The Resident is filmed here. They have a major studio here. And in fact, to that point, next week, there's a new movie that is being shot here called First Ladies of the United States FLOTUS. And our theater is being rented by the company. And so we have not, yes, last year there was a break in the filming, but the filming in Conyers and Rockdale County has just been explosive. We work really closely with our economic development department, so we're aware of everything that comes in. I'm kind of sad. Next week, the filming that is going to be done, my understanding is Viola Davis is to be here, and I'm going to be out of town. So I'm a little sad about that. But the movie industry for Conyers and Rockdale County has been amazing. The originals were filmed here. They used our theater constantly. We were just very lucky with the filming industry, and so we see that continuing now that they're back out and doing some work here. So we're not at all concerned about that at this point.
Well, I just want to thank all of you for being on Community Focus today. As we just travel around the state and let folks know, about these great cities, great citizens, great communities, and what's going on. So I really appreciate you guys being on today.
Thanks for having
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Hey, Faith, where are we going next week?
Well, next week, we're going to one of your favorite places in the whole state, which is Tybee Island. And then after that, we'll come back to the metro area with Peachtree City. And then we'll go to Waynesboro. And then March 18th, we'll do Brookhaven. So we're all over the state in the next couple weeks.
Well, great. Well, this is simulcast on 4 different Facebook pages, to my 13,000 Twitter followers, and of course YouTube, and folks can grab it and edit it and use it as they like. So thanks everybody. Have a wonderful day and stay safe out there.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you. Bye-bye. Bye.